Welcome back to the Turtle Optimist podcast. My name is Jenni. Have you ever lost yourself in a world so richly imagined, so utterly captivating that you wished you could stay there forever? Well, today we're pulling back the curtain on the magic behind those very worlds, the sprawling, interconnected narratives that become beloved book series. Welcome to the show, Matt. I'm absolutely thrilled to have my friend on today.
Hello, and thank you, Jenni, for having me on your show. I feel honored to be here.
Okay. I'm really excited because you are the first person that I met who has written a series. I'm looking forward to learning from you today. You had mentioned feeling a sense of grief after completing your master's degree and wondering if that's the rest of your life. Can you elaborate on that experience and how it influenced your decision to start writing?
I graduated with my master's degree in counseling. I was thrilled and ecstatic, but at the same time, just felt like I was closing the door on another dream that I had and realized I am not ready to do that. I'm not ready to drop my vision for my future. So during my master's program, I studied quite a bit, and a lot of ideas came to my mind. So I decided to give it an attempt to see what would happen. And here we are.
Awesome. You had shared with me and described writing your book as a saving grace and a crucial outlet. What specific aspects of the writing process provided that sense of relief and purpose for you?
I would have to say that I love all different roles in my life, all the roles. My relationship with God, my role as a husband, father, son, friend, counselor. At the same time, this gave me an opportunity to let my imagination run wild, to brainstorm different things that I could come up with that I thought about throughout the years, put them into my own personal world. It's a nice feeling.
Great. Thank you for that. I think that sometimes a person gets an education or they get a job and we get stuck on that path. There is more to us than just one aspect of our lives, and it's nice to be able to celebrate those other parts of us. That's great, and I'm happy you had the opportunity to do that.
Thank you. I'm glad as well.
We were laughing before this recording because you had said that each of your books begins with your worst chapter. I'm wondering if you can explain your creative approach and how it shapes the narrative arc of your story, including beginning, middle, and end.
So when I started writing my books, I'd have an idea for the beginning, just a little bit. I had a little bit of an idea about the ending. But in between, that's the fun part. It really is. That first chapter that I wrote for my first book? Boy, I gave that to my wife. She takes a look at it. She's like, "Oh, that's so nice, honey." Looked at her. Hmm. Gave the same copy to my mom. My mom looks at it. She reads it. Yeah, I see what you're trying to do. I almost gave up at that point, but I was stubborn. I just kept with it. Much, much better. I look back at it now, that old draft I did for my first chapter. Wow. But it's just the process of getting started. Having a general idea, want to get from point A to point B, but how to do so in the whole process. It's a good learning experience for me.
You are a fan of children and young adult authors. Which authors have had the most significant impact on your own writing style and storytelling?
Boy, my writing style. Hmm. Well, I read a lot as a kid, and I still read a lot as an adult. I'd probably say I'd have to start with Narnia, of course. C.S. Lewis. Frank Baum, the writer of the Oz books. I also loved Lloyd Alexander. He wrote the Chronicles of Prydian. My whole family loves Harry Potter and all those series. I also have to say Susan Cooper as well. And there's so many more. But as far as my writing style, hmm, I'm still learning myself, trying to figure out what that is, to be honest with you.
Fair enough. Fair enough. What about those authors gives you, I don't know, enjoyment and carries you into their stories? Is it the images, the storyline, the protagonist, antagonist? What is it about those authors that really speak to you?
The reason why I'm fascinated in books, I was very ill growing up. I've had three kidney transplants throughout my life. I was very sick. The characters in the book, they never gave up. They went through struggles in life, but they never gave up. And I look up to that. Going against all odds, as you know this, how the saying goes. It's that feeling.
Yes. And I feel like when we read many times, we connect with a character or the story, or I don't know, there's some kind of connection. And that makes sense, especially how you explained your experience growing up. So thank you for sharing. You shared with me that your books are primarily written for yourself, with the audience being secondary. How does this personal approach influence the authenticity and vulnerability of your stories?
I think you have to be true to who you are. In the first book, for example, the main character, Andy, short for Andromeda, just to let you know, it's a little spoiler. She's facing challenges. And those challenges, I've experienced in my life. It's interesting to see how she deals with them compared to how I dealt with them. For example, Andy would come into a situation where she had to converse with several adults that she didn't know. Just like myself as a kid going into high school, there's a lot of interpreters I didn't know. going through the whole process and being involved at the last minute took a while to get used to. Things like that.
Do you want to share the name of your first book that you are talking about?
A World on the Island's Edge. It took us a long time to figure out that title. It was a family thing. My wife, my mom, the kids, we all threw out some ideas and brainstormed, and I finally came up with the final one myself. And I told everybody, this is what it is, and everybody was in agreement.
You embark on each book with a clear destination in mind. How do you navigate the uncertainty of the creative process, and what surprises have you encountered along the way?
Yes. So my second book, turned out different, but similar in some ways. It matched the vision, but at the same time, it was different. Just to let you know, I am writing, I'm starting my third book. I'm on page 355. No end in sight. It'll be a while before I get there. But I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying where the characters are at the moment.
And what is the name of the second book?
Map of a Soundless Clock. We have the universe. The universe can be seen like a clock. I'll let you read the book to figure out more about it.
Good teaser. You chose to write a story involving ships and dolphins. I know there are several signs for that, driven by your intrigue. What was it about these elements that sparked your imagination, and how did you research and integrate them into your narrative?
Dolphins, dolphins, whatever sign you want to use for it. They're very special. They relate to humans. I'm sure you've seen the videos. There's a lot of research done on them. As far as ships go, it's one called the Chronos. The ship is called the Chronos. And the golden dolphin, Lux. Lux means light. It's very fascinating and complicated. I think I probably have had a lot of heartwarming moments. I actually need to take them down a little bit. Makes them kind of rough to go through, but yeah, it's good.
I don't want to spoil anything, so we'll stop there. You didn't do the artwork for your book yourself. How did you choose your illustrator? And then what was the collaborative process like? Did you write everything first and then they read it? Did you describe to them what the story was about? How did you work with that person?
Well, first of all, I would like to say my wife found the illustrator. It was the 4th of July, and we were going to the beach for the 4th of July. We're in Seaside, Oregon. There's a really cute small parade that they have there. It's an annual event that we go to. Anyways, one particular year, my youngest son, Jared, was super excited. Had a friend named David, a family friend, had a beach house, which is just a couple blocks away from us. So we met at the parade, and then their friend came, David, and they brought their older sister, Talia, and Renee. And my wife was talking to them, and I was watching the kids. They were about 7 at the time. Make sure they're not running to the streets and so forth. And what happened is my wife, she says, Matt, Talia is an artist. She does books. She illustrates books. What do you think about doing the book? Now understand, she's 15 years old, and you saw the look on her face, and she was smiling. I said, honey, how nice of you. I'm not sure about the young girl. And then she came into my house, and of course, my son was thrilled playing with her friends all day, and she drew stuff right away. And I'm like, yes, yes, that's it. The rest is history. Sadly and happily, but Talia is now a mom, and she just told me that she has to step down on book 3. Gonna miss her. She's a wonderful partner. She has some wonderful ideas. I was explaining the character and the scenes and so forth, and she take it and go with it. So my cover artist is actually going to be taken over. We'll be doing the inside for the illustration and also for the cover of the other book. So thank you so much for my long-winded story here.
Of course. I've always wanted to write a book, but I don't know who to work with. So it's really interesting for me to learn from other authors and their journeys. What is one of the most exciting chapters or themes in one of your books that you feel particularly passionate about? And why does it resonate with you?
Hmm. Okay. Well, try to summarize it. The starting of the first book, going to the second one. Hmm. Well, I'm trying to make this short. So after Andy found Lux and they both bonded, Lux was still testing the powers. And he found himself in a place, an unknown place, lost. How did we get here? He found an ageless ship over in stasis, frozen in time. So Andy touched the boat, touched the ship, whoa, came to life. Later on, the ship turns out to be millions and millions of years old. And everybody on the ship was stuck. All the people they knew and loved were gone. At the same time, Andy's twin brother, Artie, was grieving the loss of Grandma. It's a special chapter in the book because on the Kronos, on the ship, you're able to see the memories coming to life right in front of their eyes. Painful to see the memories, but at the same time, very cathartic. I don't want to make it any longer, so we'll call it good for that.
Beautifully said. Thank you for sharing again. My last question for you is looking back on your journey from a master's degree in counseling to a published author, What advice would you give to someone who feels lost or uncertain or grieving about their future path?
I would say embrace all that you are. God designed us and designed you to embrace all who you are.
I love that. Beautifully said. Well, thank you so much. Today's discussion has really been great to help us understand the process of writing one book and how it doesn't have to stop there and can become a series. This has been great. For anyone who is watching, hopefully this has inspired you to dig in a little bit deeper, to become an author yourself, or to have a better understanding of the writing process. If you are interested in purchasing a few of Matt's books, I will add the website in the show notes. Thank you for joining us today on Turtle Optimist, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.